All right, guys. So I'm going to walk you through tracking and figuring out your nutrients in MyFitnessPal. So hopefully you've already watched the video on setting your goals. We're going to make sure that your goals are set are either at lightly active or active and lose either 0.5 or a pound a week. If you have significant weight to lose, then we can talk about potentially upping that to 1.5, but I don't like that. We got to make sure you're fueling your body. It might seem like a lot of food at the beginning, and I want to challenge you to either work towards that. But if you come to me and like, I cannot meet these, I am stuffed, I want you to listen to your body and listen to your belly and see how full you are. The goal is to not stuff ourselves. We're trying to get 80% full and feel content. Okay. So we're going to start at those goals that she talks about, 0.5 or 1, lightly active or active. Okay. I want you to play around, see what works for you. If you have any questions about those goals, please don't hesitate to ask on the Facebook group. For right now, I'm going to show you where you find out what nutrients, how many nutrients you need, and therefore what your macros will look like. So this is what your home page of MyFitnessPal looks like. If you want to add a food, you're going to go to the plus sign in the middle of the bottom screen. We're never adding an exercise, okay? We don't mess around with exercise here. We don't add it. Don't worry about it. We're not tracking how many calories we burn. So I want you to go to food. And you can either choose breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So I'm going to go to breakfast. Now, this is already today, so I have added in things. But there are two ways to add in food. You can search here. So say I had bacon for breakfast. It's going to pull up everything that I've ever entered in with the word bacon in it. So the more you add into MyFitnessPal, the more history you will have and the easier this becomes. It might seem overwhelming at the beginning as you kind of build your MyFitnessPal, but it becomes easier and easier and quicker and quicker. You will not be attached to your phone forever, I promise. So bacon. So if it's none of these in my history, then I will search for bacon. It's going to pull up the whole registrar of bacon in MyFitnessPal. It's going to have the serving sizes. So I'm going to click the first one. It says I had 2 pieces. Well, actually, let's say I had 4 for breakfast. So I'm going to change the serving size to 2. And I'm going to click the check mark, and there goes the bacon. So the bacon goes into breakfast. Okay, and it goes right there. You can also add food by just under each category. It has that little plus that says add food. So you can click there, or under lunch it says add food. Under dinner it says add food. So see, I already have some of my dinner plugged in. So you can pre-add. You can pre-add your entire next day if you're wanting to make sure you hit your nutrients and macros. So that's how you add food. The easiest way to add food is to scan with a barcode. I don't have any food here, but it's my hand. You scan it, the barcode, it instantly recognizes the food and you add it in. There's also a restaurant tab here if you want to search for restaurants close by. You can search for restaurants in the search bar. Let's say Texas Roadhouse. I'm going to go down and let's say I had the steak kebab. I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit the check mark and it enters it in. Okay, I'm going to delete that because I did not have that today. I also did not have the bacon. So then you will go. So that's how you see the food that you eat. It's constantly keeping track. So if you want to see, which this is where you're going to be focused on all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and go to tomorrow because today's going to look funny. If you scroll down at the bottom of the screen where it says nutrition, this is one way to get to where you're going to be looking and where your hub for your goals will be. So click nutrition. Macros. This is the part that you're going to look at the end of the day. Don't worry about that now. We're never going to look at this calorie portion. Nutrients is where it's at. The nutrients tab, nutrition, is where you're going to look for your goals. So every day I try to get 91 grams of protein. I try to get 226 grams of carbs and 60 grams of fat. Now, again, Monday and Tuesdays look a little different because of the carb cycling. I will have a video on this later this week. But right now, from Wednesday through Sunday, our goals are to meet these goals. Now, there are low macro days on rest days, which again, I'll talk to you about more on Wednesday, where we basically just eat a little bit less. But for now, let's just Take this across the board. You are trying to meet your goals in proteins, in carbs, and in fats every day. So this is the only tab that you need to necessarily look at during the day. So as soon as you add a food, it's going to add that to your totals. So if I was going, let's say I'm going to add in, let's say I had some almonds and some chicken in a can, okay? If I go down, look at this nutrition, it shows that I've had 58 grams of protein and 18 grams of fat and 5 grams of carbs. So my macro chart is not going to look perfect yet because I've only had one meal. Do not pay attention to this chart throughout the day. The only time this chart needs to look correct is at the end of the day when your eating window is closed. If you hit all your goals in proteins, carbs, and fats, your chart will be perfect. So let's look at mine from yesterday. I only had 1 gram of protein extra, I had 4 grams of carbs left, and I had 1 gram of fat left. That's a pretty solid day. I did pretty good at putting those macros together. So if I click over my macro chart, that's a pretty perfect looking chart. If you look at the file entitled One Day at a Time in our Facebook group, that's going to show what your macro chart should look like every day. So at the end of the night, after you've entered in all your food, you've made sure that you've gotten close to your goals. 10 or 15 over under is okay. Again, that's a little bit meh. We want to try to get on point. And the more you do this, the better you get. You're not going to be playing this like puzzle piece game at the end of the day of like, oh my gosh, I only have 1 gram of fat left and 20 grams of protein. How am I going to do this? The better you get at this, the more you get at this with well-balanced meals, your macros are going to be easy to hit, and that chart is going to look great every day because you are eating well-balanced meals. So the goal is 91, the carbs are 226, the fat is 60. Everyone is going to have different goals depending on different goals. So everybody's different, body types, everything is different. So do not compare the amount with anyone else. I am just making sure that you've met your goal. So at the end of the day, you will take a screenshot of this screen, you will click on over to macros, and you will take a screenshot of the macros, and you will post those 2 things under the daily thread. Okay? Again, this gets easier. I hardly use MyFitnessPal anymore. I can pretty much eye a meal and know that my chart's going to look great. I can pretty much guess. Now, another tip with entering into MyFitnessPal is I did purchase a food scale, a digital food scale off of Amazon for $15. I used this the first 2 weeks just to start to learn, oh, this is what 4 ounces of chicken looks like. This is what 6 ounces of deli meat looks like. Because serving sizes is crucial because you're going to be tracking to really hit these goals. And I remember I did 1 chicken breast and I ate the whole thing and entered it in as 4 ounces because that's a typical serving size. When I weighed it, it was 7 ounces. So I was actually almost getting double the protein. So then that's me going over 30 grams of protein on my goals without me knowing it. So it's not necessarily a necessity, but I would recommend just something to teach you how to eyeball. There is also in the file in the Facebook group how to meal plan, how to create a meal like a pro. It has palm size of meats. You can eyeball that way. But just when I was learning, it was very beneficial for me to be able to enter in. When you enter in, so you go to add food, you can play around with serving size. So chicken in a can, the serving size was 3 ounces. I had 3.5 servings. I was hungry. But say you only had 3 ounces of that, then you can change the serving size. You can change it to 4. You can change it to 1.5. You can change the serving sizes all you want. You can also measure differently. So if I wanted to go to, so here's my almond butter. So this is 2 tablespoons serving size. So if I only had 1 tablespoon, I'd do half. You can also change it to 1 tablespoon, and I would obviously then go in and change it to that I had 1 serving. So you play around with serving size, number of servings, play around with this. You will get it. Again, once you start to add, it will start showing you like your frequently paired foods or the foods that you normally eat when you enter in this. So it gets way easier. It's just when you're starting with that blank slate, you're going to be kind of entering in everything you eat. So if you make a meal, you will need to be scanning those ingredients. Again, this barcode app is the bee's knees. That's how I enter in everything as I scan everything. I have yet to find a food that has not popped up when I have scanned it. That way you know it's as accurate as possible. So again, there are 2 ways to get to the nutrient tab. You scroll down to the bottom, nutrition, takes me right to nutrients. I will screenshot this at the end of the night. I will screenshot this at the end of the night and put it onto the Facebook group under the daily thread. Another way to get there, at the top where it says calories remaining, that bar right under where it says yesterday, click on that. And that takes you to this area as well. Never worry about the calories tab. Remember, just nutrients and macros. Again, your chart will not look perfect all day because you're going to be eating different things. So if you break your fast with strawberries, this entire chart is going to be blue because they're all carbs. Okay? So do not pay attention to this macro chart till the end of the day. The nutrient chart is what you're looking at. Okay? Post any questions you have under this video. Hopefully this helps you, and let me know if you have any questions about your goals, about tracking, about anything. All right, we got this. Bye.